It's Friday, and we're in Day to Day with St. Joseph, our 10 minutes with St. Joseph 6 days a week. And I'm back. And we're in the earthy times now. We're looking at St. Joseph from a more earthy point of view. We had so many lofty days, 33 days of them, with our book, with a beautiful consecration to do in a very elevated manner of visiting with St. Joseph, but I wanted also to have kind of a street level version. I wanted us to understand that Joseph is a saint that operates also with the common man. If you would go back in time and look for Joseph before he's paired with Mary, and you look for him, you'd see a man who's single. You'd see a man who is using his singlehood to do a lot of service. You would see a man who has not found a woman to be married to, even though he's in his mid to later 20s. Either he hasn't found the right person, or God has other stirrings inside of him to live in a single vocation, to live modestly, chastely as just a man serving God. Not a priest. Joseph isn't a priest. He's a worker and a Bethlehem person from a small town, but not far away from a big place, 7 miles or so from Jerusalem. Joseph is a man that you could just meet in Washington, meet in Baltimore, meet in Annapolis, meet in Gaithersburg or Burtonsville. The kind of a guy you might know. But maybe somebody who's quite outstanding too, in a way that you say, you know, he is the real deal. He is honest and true guy. He is reliable. And he's the kind of guy you'd like to know. Kind of guy you think, that's a good man. Good neighbor. So this is Joseph. I want to present him in an earthy manner like that. Now, this is an impression I have of Joseph just after studying him now for like 2 or 3 months every day as part of my spiritual walk now, and trying to incorporate Joseph into me, or see how Joseph may already be a part of me, or I can be like a Joseph. So I was thinking of this song called Solitary Man. And when I decided to live a single life, or plan to live a single life if the church would take me as a priest, it was in the 80s. And around 82, 83, I was making a decision to live a life as a man just dedicated to God and not marry. And the idea was that I would be a priest. I didn't know what else I could do as a single man, but I was thinking about it. And the thing is, I love women, and most of the priests I know that are single men now, serving it with the collar, also had good relations with women, love women, respect women. But Joseph, I was thinking of this Neil Diamond song, and Johnny Cash made it famous too, Solitary Man. And it's a song about a guy who, he's saying, I'll be what I am, a solitary man, a solitary man. The front end of the story that Neil Diamond sings is that he knew Melinda, and then he knew Sue, but they really weren't true. They really weren't right for him. And they were unfaithful or not interested in the end. And so he just continues on. Well, I'll be what I am for now, a solitary man. Now, Joseph, I want you to associate him as an ideal Catholic man who's following a certain path, okay, a vocation. When I call him a solitary man, it's not so much like the world defines, like the lonely man, the secluded man, the lone wolf, the man on an island kind of guy doing it himself, because he has to do it that way. There's no other help coming his way. No, and solitary confinement, things like that, is a person in seclusion. We're not talking about that. A solitary man can also be, from the Latin word salus, or to mean alone, but not alone negatively. Alone at peace with oneself is Joseph, the solitary man. And this is before he meets Mary, and it's going to be really important for him to know himself this way before he gets his vocation of marriage and fatherhood. He's a solitary man who knows solitude, who knows the peace of being with self and being with one's God and with oneself, a peace. And so it's alone but not lonely. It's single but not cut off, apart. It's different. And so I've been thinking too of Joseph understanding a vocation, that he's going to live his faith, and he's going to live it on this path, and wherever that path takes him. And he's interested in living the will of God. Okay? So how does that relate to us? Now, as a priest, I have a certain connection, as you might be hearing as I'm saying here, that I have found a peace in a solitary life that is God's choice, really. That God has said, take this path. So I've taken it, and the next thing you know, I end up where I'm at. Not lonely, but single. But for all of us, and long before I really went into the seminary, I began to get this Joseph blessing. You can have it as a man or a woman. In fact, I knew a woman at the University of Maryland that really, really loved her singleness and was a campus minister, and had spent a few years of campus ministry at Maryland, and really touched my life in her own service, her own call. And she wasn't Catholic, but I just loved the way that Pam gave her heart to the mission of us college students. Her church actually paid for her to be like a missionary to the campus, and she was later preparing for another kind of a church life. But first this, blessed are the single-hearted, for they shall see God. Blessed are the clean of heart, for they shall see God. This is what I'm talking about that Joseph has, and that other people can have too, okay? Single of heart. The Lord helps you to just see the light, to understand yourself and the gift of yourself to God, the gift of yourself to others, and the gift of peace to yourself. Now, those people who know me know that I exhibit this gift, but I learned it along the way. I received it as a slow conversion. Now, Joseph, he's living as a man of God, and he knows that he's really in that kind of remnant faith, that he's one of the men really living what the Jewish faith is supposed to be. And he has some relatives that live it, and some neighbors and some other people, and he's going to find like-minded people who want to be clean of heart, and they want to live honestly, authentically before God in his light. And so they take that path. Joseph does. So the interesting thing about Joseph is that he takes this path, and then he finds he's going to be a parent, and he's going to marry Mary. And so he's going to live this life now in a community. He's going to live it with Mary and Jesus in a community, but he's still living with that solitude, that single purpose, He will raise Jesus to be the same. Remember, Jesus was like, he has his face like flint in his mission. Jesus is right on mission, right on task in his life. And so Joseph exhibits that to his own Jesus in the house. But Joseph, when he gets married, we've talked about in other tapes that he's going to be living a special vocation that requires him to be at peace with himself as a single who is going to be a guardian for Mary, and Mary who's going to be a single, living single of heart, but living as the mother of the Messiah and needing support. And so they become this family, and two people just utterly dedicated. But we are not so far away from that sainthood. It's an earthly sainthood we can have when we just ask the Lord to help us to be single of heart. And it's one of the Beatitudes. Read more about it and understand what it is. And I'm still learning so much about it and have so far to go in really having the conviction really down deep about living this way. But if we do, then we'll understand Jesus. Jesus lived it out perfectly. He lives all the Beatitudes out perfectly, all the gifts of the Spirit out perfectly. He lives out love perfectly. He lives it in humility perfectly. He's the Savior, okay? He's the God-man. But he's the one now living in us, and he's going to help us live this faith. And he also was the inspiration in Joseph to live it and to show it to us. So the solitary man is not so bad unless he's a man that chooses to just get away from everybody. The only good kind of solitary man like that is if he's going to be a hermit, if he's going to be a mystic, or she's going to be a mystic, are going to live a contemplative life and do so to get intimate with God so as to be a gift to the church, to others, and an intercessor and a servant. Then that's a single apart mission. Most of us in the world and the church are going to be partnered with others in marriage and in love, family, and these kind of relationships. And there's a room for the single of heart in that vocation too. Let's discover it. This is Father Barry. See you tomorrow on Day to Day with St. Joseph.